My boyfriend has beef with his kid's mother and told me I can't come for Christmas but told me to leave the expensive gifts and my dog for his kids. Now I'm thinking the only gift he deserves is a breakup. Posted by you/AnySwimming2309. If you look at my post history, I, 37F, escaped a violent man a while ago and got back with an ex, 40M, who was cold but at least not violent. However, he is lazy and passive, and there was too much family drama. He has 2 kids, 8 and 10. Now, I am back in the drama. He also never told me he loved me, but that is beside the point. His kid's mom has always been awful to me, and he never stands up for me. We broke up when she screamed at me as I came with him to pick up the kids, threw me out, and he didn't say anything. It was literally my first interaction with this woman. There is no history that I know of. I don't recall ever meeting this woman, let's call her Susan, 39F, before I dated Phil, and to my knowledge, I have no mutual friends with her except my hairstylist, who is a nice woman. She honestly freaked me out, coming at me screaming during our first meeting. They have been divorced for 7 years, so it's not like it's new. Anyway, we are back together, and initially, I was invited to his Christmas dinner. I grew up in a cult and have no family since my disabled mother died. He knows this. Now, Susan is insisting that he cannot see the kids at all if I am there, so he asked me to find something else to do on Christmas. While we only recently got back together, we were together for a year before that, but again, no I love you, and I felt more like a friend to him. Sometimes, I wondered if he's gay and I was his beard. He doesn't drive, so he asked me to take him to the mall to shop for gifts. I bought expensive gifts for his kids. He wants me to take him grocery shopping, leave the gifts for his kids, and leave my dog so they can play with her, but then go away until they are gone. A friend kindly invited me over, so we are going to hang out, and now he says I am being dramatic and selfish when I tell him I am just going to get my money back for the gifts. Should I return the gifts or not? Edit. Thank you all for the kind comments, and really, the unkind comments were helpful in showing me what kindness looks like. To answer people's questions, I have only been free from my controlling, narcissistic mother for 4 years, even though we escaped the cult 10 years ago. So I am still really learning to cope. I am in therapy, but my therapist's focus has been to help me build and maintain relationships with people, so she tends to explain how to see things from the other person's perspective. Her suggestion was that I can leave but also maybe have empathy for Phil's lack of emotional intelligence and grow a thicker skin. I might need a better therapist. I was raised to believe I am worthless and don't deserve kindness. It has taken 3 years of therapy just to have the confidence to make friends and date at all. I told Phil that I am taking the gifts back, and he has been begging me to give him another chance. I am working on finding the strength to walk away. Relevant comments. Commenter. Who has primary custody of the kids? Ops response. Susan has full custody because Phil was involuntarily hospitalized during a manic episode a few years ago, before we met. She painted him as unfit because he's bipolar, and he's afraid to go to court. He also only pays child support erratically. Update 3 days later. I was shocked that everyone said my boyfriend was wrong. I really thought most people would be team baby mama and tell me I'm awful for not cooperating with being asked to leave expensive gifts and my dog for Phil's kids on Christmas, but leave the house, as I was not allowed. Because that's what most of my friends, okay, I have 5 friends, told me. They said relationships require work and compromise, and that Susan and the kids must always come first. They even suggested I help cook dinner for them. Most of my friends are actually my late mom's friends, women over 60. I started therapy when I was cripplingly shy, and to defend my therapist, it's only thanks to her that I stopped sitting alone in my house, totally isolated, and learned to connect with other people. While I appreciate the suggestion to be alone for a while, I have been super isolated most of my life, and dating again was actually huge progress for me that we worked on for months. I told my therapist that Phil crossed a line and that I don't want to save my relationship with him or my friends, I want to improve my self-esteem. Her emphasis has always been on avoiding isolation at all costs and learning to endure other people's imperfections. She agreed that this Christmas incident was really bad. I am still processing all of this. I am surrounded by people who encourage me to be a doormat, and I am still shocked by what others thought. I really believe that Phil and Susan were right, and 48 hours is not enough time to process that maybe my whole worldview is totally messed up. I went to my friend Mary's house and realized that she's maybe my only real friend. She didn't judge me, told me Phil is nuts, and we had a great time with her family. I left my dog with a neighbor since her oldest is nonverbal and can be unsafe with animals. I sent Phil a Venmo request for the money I spent on gas and gifts, and he paid it. Phil threw Susan out at 2 p.m. and begged me to come home. I got my dog back from the neighbor, took out the cheapest gifts, and he made his kids thank me and play with the presents, which felt very awkward as he tried to beg them to engage with me while they were on their phones. We hung out with his kids for an hour. Susan came back and refused to get out of her car. Now Phil is telling me he loves me, wants to marry me, etc. I don't know what to do. I have been reading nonstop about narcissistic abuse these past few days. I am realizing that Phil is just like my mom, and that this is maybe what she did, hoovering. But again, I am fighting to stop being totally isolated, which I was for years after leaving the cult. I had no friends, never dated. It's laughable how many people accused me of desperately needing a man. Phil is my first boyfriend, and we met when I was a 31-year-old virgin with no friends. So yes, being alone is grand, but I have been alone all my life and fought hard to stop wanting to be alone. Learning to talk to people outside of work topics, developing social skills, etc., has been a huge battle. I am not autistic, but I come across that way because after age 7, I was the only kid left in our cult/commune, and I have no social skills and prefer to be alone to an unhealthy degree. I don't know what to do. Maybe Phil grew a spine. Maybe it's hoovering. I'm standing up to him, though, and looking for new friends and spending more time with Mary, who said I am always welcome at her house. Second update 1 month later. If you recall, my boyfriend threw me out on Christmas because his baby mama wouldn't let him see his kids unless he uninvited me. He expected me to leave behind the expensive gifts I bought for his kids, take him grocery shopping, he can't drive for medical reasons, and leave my dog with them to play with. I had a history of social isolation and abuse and only have one friend my age, so I had no one to tell me how bad this was and no other social outlets. Phil arranged a small Christmas gift opening for me, him, and his kids. He finally told me he loved me and wanted to marry me. He then offered to let me move in with him but soon after asked me to buy a sofa. A few days later, I was out of gas, he got out to pump it but asked for my credit card. He wouldn't even chip in for gas, even though I drive him everywhere. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed that I was missing kitchen knives. My utensil drawer kept getting emptier. I have a cleaning lady and figured maybe she put them someplace weird because she spaces out sometimes. She's sweet but more ADHD than I am, which is saying a lot. They were in Phil's utensil drawer. He had been stealing utensils from me. For some reason, that was the last straw. Today, I blocked him. Edit. I confronted Phil about the knives when I returned his stuff. He had been taking pot brownies to work and eating them all day and needed my knives to cut them, then forgot to return them. So, on top of everything, he was doing substances at work. He took 1 or 2 each week and doesn't see the big deal. But I've also found empty food boxes in the cabinets where he ate everything and put the box back, so I think he's been stealing deliberately and will probably find more things missing. Edit 2. So apparently, this post made best of Reddit and also a YouTube channel. Questions and some lovely advice have come in. First, thank you for the kind advice and suggestions. I'm looking for a therapist who specializes in CPTSD. Sorry for the wall of text. Did I get the knives back? No, they are $10 worth of dollar store knives, and contacting Phil and risking him love bombing me when I am still fragile is not worth $10 of crap. He would probably lie and cause drama if I did, not worth it. I need to grow up/grow a spine/ I am so desperate for a man. I was raised to believe that I cannot survive on my own. This was taught to us by our leader, an older woman who preyed on lost younger women and ran a small commune. My mom told all her friends that I wouldn't make it on my own and that they needed to watch out for me. Every day, all my life, I was taught that I literally cannot safely exist independently. This is hard to deprogram when the same people are still in my life. Phil was one of the first people to befriend me and teach me life skills. He's not just any man to me but the person who taught me how public transportation works, how to drive, how services like trash pickup work, introduced me to pop culture, and didn't mock me. Therapist competence. One comment on r/best of Redditor updates opened my eyes. My therapist, whom I see twice a month because that is all my insurance covers, has no idea how broken my frame of reference is. I didn't, until Reddit pointed it out. She mostly treats people with BPD and tells me I'm catastrophizing and blowing things out of proportion when I complain that my boyfriend is cold or that a friend criticized my party in front of other people. But when I tell her, word for word, blow by blow, what someone actually did that I labeled as rude or cold, she often responds, that is totally unacceptable. I don't think I have explained to her clearly how bad these people have acted because I didn't realize how bad it was. I thought these were normal problems, so that's how I framed them to her, causing her to think I'm a whiny baby. How broken my frame of reference is. To those harshly judging, I had no exposure to mainstream media and had never been to a movie theater, on the subway, or on a plane until I was 30. People rejected me because I was weird and asked weird questions. So I became very dependent on the few people who first befriended me when I entered the normal world. I really want to thank the people who helped me understand how bad this all is. I don't know exactly where to go from here, but I joined a crochet group, and I'm getting a second dog.